What's up everyone, Matt Montanez here. I had someone ask me if I can show how I mix Carson Lueders' Try Me record on one of my other videos, so I finally found some time to do that today and show you guys, show all of you engineers exactly what I did. And the crazy thing about this record is I technically didn't do much. I didn't do a lot of heavy mixing and EQing and compressing and things like that. Like, a lot of the stuff was tracked really well. The production was really well balanced. And I did very minimal and subtle changes, but all those changes added up. And all those small little changes really made this mix pop and really made it sound bigger and better. So, once again, this is for Carson Lueders' Try Me record. I'll put a link in the description or somewheres. And also, this was produced by Chizzy. He's the guy behind Catching Villains by on Teen Titans Go. And let's see. So this is the record, the final count of tracks, whereas 56, that's including auxiliary and my effects like processing stuff, my Vox comps. And as you can see, everything looks pretty organized. I actually can rip these out now. Those don't need to be there. So actually, the track count is 53. All right, and then we got bass, sub, 808s, kicks, snares, drums, percussion, lead synths, and also effects and pads. So, like I said, this track actually did very minimal stuff. It looks like I have a lot going on, but I don't. Let me pull up the original track so you can hear how I got it, and then I'll come back to this one. So let's go to that. Try Me Carson. And this is the original song, exactly how I received it. I received it with the instrument tracks here and all the vocals on top. As you can tell, it's just not as organized and it actually looks a lot smaller. So yeah, I just comped everything together, made things sound a little bit better. And let's start from the beginning. I'm just going to point out some key points that I heard when I first listened to the record the very first time and what I want to do. So to start off, it comes in with this sweet piano. Okay, so that piano sounds great. It sounds like a really good piano, but in my opinion, it didn't sound wide enough. And I don't mean like super duper wide, hard left, hard right, but just a little bit wider so the vocals can sit nice and comfortable in the center. This piano is sitting right in the center where the vocals need to be. So when the vocals do come in on this reference here, they are a little bit louder than they should be.
Now tell me, how do I explain this? Cause I've been checking for this girl since the day we met.
And then for the vocals here also too, I heard the vocals and the vocals sound a little thinner. They need to be a little bit wider and a little bit more warmth. So I added that in the mix, which I'll go through. And then you have this awesome synth one here. To me, it's a little bass heavy, so I definitely did pull out some bass there. And I did that because also too, you got your kicks, oops, down here. You got your, where are you at? Kicks. That's the hi-hats. Where are my kicks? When your kicks come in with the 808, you also have your sub that comes in. It makes it sound really weird as a transition, for my opinion, when that happens.
Me, you do the same thing too, do the same thing too, do the same thing too. Girl, I know that you just my type, girl.
So yeah, it doesn't work. And just in my opinion, the way my ear's working when I'm listening to this, and then here too, like the sub and then the dunk, they kind of mush together right here.
Every day, all I do is think about you.
So it doesn't really work. So I kind of make that a little brighter and stuff, which I'll show. I balance everything else out. But let me point out this right here. This part where it goes, try me. It's supposed to sound big, right?
Like a shy, try me, just try me. Yeah. Like a shy, try me, just try me.
So it sounds great, but to my ear, it just sounds louder. It doesn't sound wide enough. Okay, so I definitely make that sound wider. And let's go over here. Something I want to point out over here. I think it's this. So that I feel like it could have had more beef to it, something behind it. So I add something there, and I'll show you that. And lastly, I want to point out is this delay that they have on the vocals.
Now tell me, how do I explain this? Cause I've been checking for this girl since the day we met. I'm always wondering who she came with.
And I love that they thinned out the delay a little bit. See, so this is their settings. They did quarter notes, 30% feedback. And I love that their setting of the delay is like this. So I actually went off that when I added the delay, but I slowed the delay down actually to a half note. And then I thinned it out more. And I actually just went in the presets and I actually just select the telephone to band. So you guys will see that too. So let me pop up the mix now. All right, everyone, so here's the mix, right? I'm back in the mix on what I did, and as you can tell, it's a little different, the way it's organized and everything. But let me just go through these EQs real quick so you guys can see what I mean that I didn't do much. Okay, so first off, I'm going to just start in the vocals because vocals are super duper important. So here's the lead vocal. As you can see, here's my EQ section. And I'm, of course, doing a filter, rolling off the low end. I didn't do anything here in the highs. I didn't do anything in the high mids. I pull 1.8 out of this section here. And then I don't do anything in the low end. I put a tad bit of compression. And that's it. That's all I did for the entire leads. Because I put all the leads on one track. So you got your verse. You got the pre. You got the chorus. Then back to the verse, the pre, and the chorus. And then the bridge there, we goes, yeah. So a post. Not even a bridge, just a post. And then it goes back to the chorus. That's all I did there, okay? But check this out now. For the layers here. These are the layers where he says, try me. Down here too. Look at my EQs. Nothing. I didn't do anything there, okay? I just lowered the fader a little bit. And then panned them 35-35 for those ones. Here, I panned them 65-65 and nothing. And these are the same. Then here, down here, 41-43 and 100-100. And I just moved volumes. And down here, it's nothing. So I didn't do anything there. From these tracks going to the Vox comps, they do hit these though. Which you can check out my video, how to use the 1176 compressor by Waves. I will actually put a link for that. And you guys can see how to use this plugin. And I talk about how this blue stripe actually adds a lot of presence inside vocals and things like that. It adds presence. So it's very cool. So it basically works as like an EQ and a compressor using its harmonics the way they designed it. Or the way they emulated it. Then I have, this is for the leads. And that's all it hits. And then it goes to reverb, width, and then here's the delay, which is automated. Here's the ambient echo I use, and then this is the plugin I use for the yeah, which let me just show you that now that I have it up.
Try me. Yeah.
And it's very subtle in there, but it has that just so it works. So I'm gonna play on this. I'm gonna bypass it so you can hear it without.
Try me. Yeah.
So do you hear it this time? It doesn't sound as full. So let me just play it one more time so you can rehear that.
Try me.
And it's just that little subtleness that I'm talking about that made that part really, really work. Okay, so that's what I did there, and that's why I have this plugin here. And let's go through some of this. Okay, so what I had mentioned before was the piano. The piano needed to sound a little wider. So this is actually the piano here. He called it lead synth. And let me solo it. And I'm going to just play this little intro section. So as you can tell, like with these plugins, it's very subtle what they're doing. This is the main plugin that gives it that little bit more width. Okay, it's multi-mono, and what I did is left and right, you just EQ them differently. Okay, it's basically opposite. The low end, the left side always increase low end, pull down the highs, and the right end I always do the opposite, so increase the highs, bring out some lows. And then for the SSL channel, I have this little EQ where I'm rolling off low end, boosting highs, mids, and stuff, and then pulling out some low end. And then, of course, compression. So let me play it again, and I'm going to bypass the plugins, and then you'll hear the difference. And you can really hear the difference in that part where it goes dong, dong, dong. You can really hear the difference when it's real full and in that with a lot of bass in there. It's really taking up a lot of the center, and when I pull that out, it kind of just spreads it out just enough for the vocals to sit comfortably. And that was the main focus, on keeping that to sit nice but still sounding very, very good, because it's a great sounding instrument. And like I said, everything here is really, really, really well balanced. Okay, and then let's go here. Okay, and in this drum section, I have my drums, kick, snare, and clap going to a side chain, which is the 160 dBx, and it just sounds great. It gives it a little more punch and pop. So let me see if I can play that a little bit right here, and I'll bypass the side chain so you can hear it. Let's see, did I unmute that? Yes, I did. Okay, and here we go.
Do the same thing too, do the same thing too. Girl, I know that you just want time. Girl, don't act like you're shy. Try me, just try me. Yeah, I know you heard it.
And as you can tell, it makes those snares and claps really snap in there. That kick punches through a little bit, and that's just using this drum side chain, which goes into the DBX 160, and it sounds great. And then from here, you see this number 5. It's really just to side chain and duck. Or actually, I'm using the expander on this case, not the compressor. And it's really making it so this 808 sits nice, and I EQ'd it a little bit right here, as you can see. And the kick I EQ'd, so they sit good together, but it wasn't really pushing this 808 hard enough, so I used this expander gate, so whenever the kick hits, then it uses this key input, and it really makes it come out a little bit more.
Do the same thing too, do the same thing too. Girl, I know that you just want time. Girl, don't act like you're shy. Try me, just try me. Yeah.
So if you hear it, as soon as I bypassed it, it's like the 808's just on top of the kick, and it's just too much. So it really just works together nice and neat. Here it is again.
Do the same thing too, do the same thing too. Girl, I know that you just want time. Girl, don't act like you're shy. Try me, just try me. Yeah, I know you heard it before, but I know you can't ignore. Try me.
So when that's off, that expander gate there, the 808 is just sitting on top of it, and it buries that kick. So with this, then it lets it poke through every time the kick hits, so it works together. So that's what I use there. For the sub bass wasn't too bad. This is my EQ on it. I literally just boosted 3.4 at 81, and here took out some mids. And then I slapped the CLA bass on there, which sounded great to my ear, which I wanted. So here it is solo. And then if I pull this out. So it didn't have no more of the mids. And let me pull out both plugins. So yeah, it really works. So I like that, and that's pretty much all I did there. I didn't do much. And then all those go into the All Music auxiliary here, which are going through this guy, the Magic EQ, the Magic plugin. You can check out my video on that one. And then it's just going into a stock EQ here, which is just very small, subtle things, 0.4, 1.3, minus 2.3, minus 0.6, just to balance that into all the instruments together. So for percussion, let's see what percussion has. And look at my EQ for percussions. Nothing. Okay, this is for the hi-hat. Then for the second hi-hat, nothing. The third hi-hat, nothing. And the cymbal. Nothing. And all those are just being routed into here, which I did some EQ, which I'm boosting the heck out of 4K, and then just pulled out almost everything else. And then I used this distortion, air distortion plugin, which is, I guess it's like a stock plugin with Pro Tools. I couldn't even tell you. I just know they started including the air pack for a while. And it's very light distortion on it. Look, the mix, I pulled it down to 60%. I started off with the funky clipping preset, and then I just tweaked it to my liking. And then just pulled everything down like crazy. Look, 8.3, and then the main hi-hat's down 5.3. So this is how they sound together.
Do the same thing too, do the same thing too. Girl, I know that you just want time. Girl, don't act like a shy.
Like I said, very subtle, small adjustments that I did for that. So let's go back to the leads, the synths, and the effects and pads and stuff. We have this cool lead here, right? Let's solo it so you can hear what I'm talking about. Very, very cool. I love it. And look at my EQ on it. It's nothing. I'm not doing anything on it. And trust me, I did not set up this session and pull off all my settings or nothing. No, I did not do that. I don't care. Go ahead and steal all my settings if you want. That's literally what I did. I didn't do anything to that. All I did was route it over here to my all music because I thought it already sounded good.
Every day, all I do is think about you, think about you.
And it does. It just sounds good already in the mix. It's balanced. Then we got this synth, and let's see what my adjustments are. Very small. Got a little bit of high end, nothing there. A little bit. And then a couple roll-offs and some compression. And this guy is... And remember I was saying he had a lot of that like mid-range kind of section. So see, I'm rolling it off and then kind of centering it out. So now he just pokes through and it works with the piano really well. So that's all I did there. I just really wanted him to work right. The synth here, pull that, you know, just very little bit, roll off low ends and then just boost the rest. And did I pan that? And see, I panded this one to the right just to give it more width. And that's what I'm saying. I just created space and did really a lot of width stuff on this session. See, these are all centered. And then this one, I panned it over, so now it's sitting more to the right side. And that's so it could be heard, because if I would have had this one centered, it wouldn't be heard. It would be buried under this low lead, the piano, and then this synth.
Yeah, I know that's it. Cause every day all I do is think about you, think about you.
And it's crazy because right now it sounds like it's buried or whatever, but if I mute it out, it's gonna sound like it's missing something. Check this out.
Yeah, I know that's it. Cause every day all I do is think about you, think about you, think about you. And I guarantee if you and me.
So yeah, all these little small adjustments really, really, really help. And then let's go to this pad here. And this pad, look, I just boosted the heck out of the high end there to give it a lot of air. And just pulled out some of that mid-range. And the reason why I pulled out the mid-range here is because a lot of times the mid-range is sitting in the center. So if you pull that center part out, it'll spread it just a little bit. And that's what I felt like it did here, especially since I boosted all these highs. And let's see. And I panned it over to the left. And the reason why I went left with this guy is because the other guy went right. So they work with each other.
About you, and I guarantee if you and me, you do this.
And that's what created width to leave room for the vocals, the piano, and everything else that needs to be in the center. These guys just moved over to the right some. Then we got like white noise here, which white noise I didn't do anything with. All I did was just leave it exactly where it's at. Just shot it over to all effects and used a delay to create some width, to pull it out of the center so it has some movement and just bring it down. Same thing with the sweep, I believe. Nothing. And I shot it over to the effects. And let's go down here. These plucks, nothing and nothing. And those are all just creating some width. And let's see if the pans are any changed. Nope. They're all sitting there. Except the white noise. It looks like I panned it to the left. So that's all panned to the left. And then this effect here, which let's boost this up so you can see it. Right there. Let's see what I did. Absolutely nothing. And here, absolutely nothing as well on the Vox effect. And let me play those. I'll play this one solo first. And that's what that does. And then we got this one. And if I play it in the song.
Do the same thing too. Do the same thing too. Girl, I know that you just want time. Girl, don't act like you're shy. Try.
And it all works together, you see. So like I said, for those instruments, all I want to do is create space, make them all sit comfortably together. And a lot of the stuff, I didn't really actually have to do much. It's just very subtle moves, you know, a little pan to the side, pulling out a little bit here and there from the frequencies and making sure everything just sat nice together. So if something was fighting with something, then I messed with it. But if they're not fighting with each other and they sound good together, then just leave them alone. You can throw a plugin on them, which I did, because it's still going to give it a character, a color, or a sound. So that's why I did that. But overall, I didn't do much EQing on a lot of this stuff. So let's go back here to this lead vocal. And what I was talking about here was the delay. There is the delay they used. And my delay, I actually went with the H delay instead of their delay. I left their delay for just backgrounds, harmonies, etc. But for the leads, I went with the H delay. And let me show you that. So my H delays here. And this is what I did. I went to a half note. I went lo-fi. And then I rolled off some lows and highs. And then I put my feedback at 50. I started with the Rap Vox. And look, I boosted the heck out of the output. And I also boosted 4.5 more in the actual master return there. And it's like, wow, dude, like you're boosting all kinds, but it sounds good. Check out my delay. Let's close that.
Now tell me, how do I explain this? Cause I've been checking for this girl since the day we met. I'm always wondering who she came with. And if I don't make a move, yeah, I know that's it. Cause
so I really loved to have that half note so it came in afterwards like it's talking back and forth to each other. And I thought that really set the mood and was really cool. And as you can tell too, like on my vocals sound a lot warmer. Let's go down here. And let's check out these delays here and see what these delays are doing. And I went with their delay. And I think I just switched the EQ. Yep, I just switched the EQ to the Telephone 2. So this is the one that I was saying that I switched to the Telephone 2. And literally, I just went here, clicked the preset, clicked Telephone 2, and it worked perfectly. So let's see. It comes in here, the delay.
all I see is you.
And you just hear it in the back there. Me. Because it's that faster delay that they used.
All I see is you.
And it's just there. And it works. So I used it for the backgrounds here and harmonies and things like that. That's what I used that for. So for this section here, these guys right here, right? So let's solo these so you can hear what these guys are doing.
Try me.
Low guys, right? That's what they are.
Try. Yeah.
So what I thought was cool is, let me show you my EQs on them. Nothing, and nothing. So I actually just shot them through this because as you see, Vox Comp 4. They go into the blue stripe. And then I shot them through this flanger. And I used one of my presets here and then I just tweaked it to my liking. And then I used the CLA vocals, which sounded incredible. So I just pushed the compressor like crazy and then just a little bit of bite. And it worked. It sounded really, really good. So then from there it goes to the EMT, which is a reverb, and then the delay, and then a background vocals with. And then my lead vocals are going to a lead with. So for this lead with, right, you guys are probably like, what's this lead with he has there? What's this background vocals with there? And let me show you guys that. So I'm actually going through this doubler, right? And it's just giving it what it says. It's giving it width. And let me solo safe these so you can hear them. And for the lead vocal, here. And let me play it.
Now tell me, how do I explain this?
And let's let it play, and I'm going to mute it and unmute it as it's going.
Now tell me, how do I explain this? 'Cause I've been checking for this girl since the day we met. I'm always wondering who she came with.
And you hear that? It made it thicker. So that's how I got his voice to sound thicker instead of real thin and center in the middle. Like I said, it's creating width and space. So when you do something like this, especially with the doubler, you don't want to do a lot. It has to be super subtle. And a lot of times it kind of jacks up the vocals. But for me, it happened to work on this track. And this is usually like you get things like this.
Now tell me, how do I explain this? 'Cause I've been checking for this girl since the day we met. I'm always...
And sometimes it just jacks up vocals. Like it gives it a weird flangering effect and things like that. And a lot of times you want it. Sometimes it gives it a chorus effect and you don't want it. And then I just did the same thing with these background vocals here. It's the same exact thing, except I'm using a doubler 4, I believe. Yep, doubler 4. Same thing. Oops.
Try me, just try me.
And it's very, very subtle just to give it a little more width, just to push it out of your headphones. So that's pretty much this record, guys. Like, I shoot everything into my routing and to these plugins here, which isn't a lot. You know, certain background vocals, I wanted these tucked underneath a little more, so I just did this kind of EQ. This has a delay for some width, and then shooting it here for some presence. I showed you this little setup, and all those are going to my all Vox chain here, which isn't anything incredible. Like, it's just the CLA2A, beautiful plugin, and then it's going into the API 550A, which I've showed you guys that on my YouTube channel on my plugins in depth on how to use this guy and get the best out of it. And the last thing is a de-esser, simple de-esser. And I just slapped on the full mix preset. And then everything goes into Aphex here, which is just giving it some brightness, and that was it. Because at the very end, I finished mixing it. I didn't have the Aphex on there, and it's like, wow, you know, it sounds great, but the vocals are a little dark. So I just slapped the Aphex on and sent it there to give a little more brightness. Then I just got a simple chain on the master bus, which was this, which I was just experimenting with this guy, and it just worked for this song. As you can see, I didn't even use the channel ones on this one. I just used the bus. SSL comp, my favorite. SSL channel, or SSL EQ, just the EQ, which just worked. The Puig Child, which is amazing. I highly recommend this one. Everybody go purchase this one. And then just the S1 Imager. Last thing it goes through is just the L2, just so nothing blows up my speakers. And that's pretty much this mix, guys. It's very, very, very simple. Just remember, just don't over process stuff. It's the point where you start over processing, thinking everything needs EQ, everything needs compression, everything needs width, everything needs this, everything needs that. When you start over processing, you jack up your mixes. Don't overthink it. Just go with feels right. And also, if it's not fighting with each other, there's no reason why you should mess with it. Find the direction you want to go and then mix your record. Because like I said, I heard this piano and then I heard the vocal and this try me part, and I knew what I wanted to work. I really wanted the piano and this vocal with the delays to really, really work.
Now tell me, how do I explain this? 'Cause I've been checking for this girl since the day we met. I'm always wondering who she came with. And if I don't make a move, yeah, I know that's it. 'Cause every day all I do is think about you, think about you, think about you. And I guarantee if you were me.
Lastly, guys, I should tell you guys, always Vocaline. Vocaline, it's one of my favorite plugins. Again, I've done a video on that. Check that out. It is the greatest plugin in the world, one of the greatest plugins in the world. And I vocalined, as you can tell, I vocalined, so those vocals stay super tight. I vocalined, so these vocals stay super tight. All right, as always, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share this video, share my other videos, and you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. You can follow me on Snapchat now. You can also follow me on Facebook, and keep creating music. Take care.